tonight, finally, the long-awaited interview with Dave Ortiz. Welcome, Dave Ortiz. Where are you, Dave?
I'm in New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey.
Fabulous. And I'm Linda West. I'm out here in Los Angeles. So, Dave and I both met originally. I'll give some background on this. Dave and I were both entered in the Alex Jones Reporter Contest. We were both some of the winners that got reporter jobs with Alex Jones. We went down to Austin. Well, he went across. I went down to Austin, and we worked there. Dave much longer than I did. I came back to LA, and we'll talk about that later. But Dave, now you're on your own. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, the great thing about the Liberty Movement is really you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can start a YouTube page. In short, I've started my own YouTube page. I launched it about a month ago. It's in its infancy. Right now, it's just me doing some brief commentary. But in time, I want to have some interviews, maybe even have a podcast. So that's what I'm doing right now. But I'm also helping a couple of other libertarian organizations from the background, helping them monetizing what they're doing. Because in the libertarian movement, you could be an activist, and that's great. But you need money. You need money to get the message out. So I've been helping a lot of other libertarian media outlets in the background monetizing. And there's a market out there for the libertarian movement, no question.
That's great. Do you want to talk about any of those people or not bring that up?
No, because I don't want, I don't like this station, but I love this station.
Okay. So all right. That's cool. So
but they all promote liberty.
And what is the name of your YouTube channel?
I don't know. I just have David Ortiz YouTube.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so
yeah, if you want to look for it, just on YouTube, type in my name and then reporter, and then if you press enter, you'll scroll down and you'll see my face there.
And all right, and I'll also link it below for everybody because sometimes it's hard to find people on YouTube when you're going to look. So we'd had a brief conversation before this interview that you were wanting to see a lot more activism out of people that were watching the news. And why don't you talk a little bit about that, Dave?
Yeah, Linda, I mean, there's some great libertarian outlets out there, but I think we would all agree, and Ron Paul mentioned it recently. He has a new channel coming out. He says we got to talk a little bit more about the victories that are taking place in our movement, because to be in a continual state of fear or anger is not a good thing. So we should, in my opinion, we should dedicate at least 50% of the content towards victories and towards solutions. It's not a coincidence that Ron Paul finished number 2 in the GOP race, and he had the second amount of funding behind Mitt Romney. So I think, and you would agree, we got to get more, celebrate the victories that are taking place in our movement, as Ron Paul stated. Let's not just be a movement that constantly is scared and angry, but, talk about the victories, become a movement of activism, and also we need to become a movement of funding. People win when they have money. It's like if you say, I want somebody to clean my house. I don't have enough time. Can I get a maid? Sure, absolutely, but you're going to have to pay the maid to clean your house.
Right.
Well, if you want your political house to be cleaned, it's not going to be cleaned if you don't support the Libertarian Party. So could you imagine if 100,000 libertarians, people who watch Liberty websites every day, were to say, I'm going to donate anywhere from $5 to $500 a month to the Libertarian Party? I mean, what type of impact would that have?
Well, money seems to help a lot of things grow, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I really like your idea that you're talking about with half the news being dedicated to the wins that we've achieved. And I mean, because really, you're right. It gets really discouraging, and it's happened to me myself, and where I'm like, why am I bothering? And it's because we don't hear about how many times we have stopped Monsanto, or how many times, like, the chalker that was Bank of America was thrown in jail for, putting things out in front of Bank of America. He got out of that. And we need to hear about that. People need to, feel that good-hearted spirit of, like, we're making a difference. And, like you said, solutions, Just don't tell me something bad without giving me a solution on how I can fix it, or you're just going to put me in, a state of fear. And then you're paralyzed. You might as well drink the fluoride. It's the same thing. You're out of commission, basically, if you're full of fear. So
Yeah, and not only that, if we do that, then we fall in the same trap that liberals and Republicans. For example, this whole gun control thing, it's because one event happened in Connecticut, just one event. Well, if we're just going to focus on one negative thing, towards liberty, then we're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? We shouldn't blow bad things out of proportion.
Right. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And on that note, I wanted to bring up a piece of news that Dave Acton sent over to me that, I'm not sure a lot of people know about, but did you know that starting October 1st that everybody in the nation has to register for Obamacare? Were you aware of that?
No, I was not.
Yeah, me either. And here's the other, interesting thing about that is if you don't register and say they start fining you up to, like, if it goes like maybe a couple of years, $5,000. So that's just economic tyranny for one. But secondly, it used to be that when you went into a doctor's office, your privacy was so important that, you had to go into a different room to look at the records and all of that because something like a medical issue was so near and dear to people's hearts. Somebody got awarded over $1 million because somebody stole her records. An ex-girlfriend or something stole the records out of the hospital and shared them with some people about her pregnancy or whatnot. She won $1 million settlement. But now, by registering online for Obamacare, which we're all required to do, none of the sites that we're going to register on are even certified private. None of them. They're all unsecure. So we're just like open market for, what is that, where they steal identity fraud, where they steal your identity. It's like, let's talk about that. What do you think about that?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, we were going to come here. We all knew that. Freedom lovers knew that. But now we're just seeing it take place. And we all knew that economically this is going to bankrupt the country. So this is not news to me, So, yeah, I mean, that's why so much. One thing we can do, because you're talking about solutions, is a lot of this stuff can be nullified on the state level. So what can we do? Oh, that's horrible. It stinks. We know socialism stinks as well as crony capitalism.
Right.
So what can we do? Let's nullify it on the state level. I was just reading about this. Do you know that L.A., this is the country's second largest city, 15% of people voted for the mayor earlier this month? See,
That's
people
it?
worry so much about
15%?
15%. That's a major city. Philadelphia, the last mayoral election, 21%. Dallas, 5%. So people are so focused on Obama and President Obama, and
the lethargy.
They can nullify what he does. So we need to become more active on the county level, and we can nullify so much of this stuff.
Yeah, Dave, you're so right about that, and it just brings back what you said before. In that, maybe part of the reason we're seeing this, because it sounds like a decline in what in the voting, is because people feel like their vote doesn't count. It's not making a difference. So, if, like you said, we start celebrating the wins and talking about the wins and the advances we're making together, united, that we can get that up because people will start feeling again like they're making a difference. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll start, and once we talk about good, positive things, it'll motivate people and inspire people to say, you know what, I'm going to donate 2 hours a week to political activism. We need to make political activism part of our lives, like dieting, like eating. We are the watchguards, if you will. And this idea that, okay, let's just read and get ticked off, that's not enough. Right. We have to be continual watchdogs and just make political activism part of our lives. And if we do that, we're not going to have a nuclear Iran. Because on the state level, we'll have legislators that won't allow that culture to take place. So, yes, so that's why we have to talk about positivity, because it'll motivate people to become more active. And the more active people come, the less tyranny we'll have.
I absolutely agree with you. I think really that is the key. I've been working this new program, a new book. I'm writing 10 Minutes to Greatness. It's 10 minutes a day, working toward a goal, something you want to do. And because that's how I wrote my first book, 10 minutes a day. It took me a year. So I'm inspiring people to, take action in their own life toward what they really want. But the other thing I was asking people to do is spend 10 minutes a day, not only meditating so you can connect and get clear guidance, but 10 minutes a day going out in the world, positively saying, what would I like to see change? What could be better? What could I do? Send a letter today, write a petition, make a call. I happened to be sitting next to yesterday at, a restaurant, a man that happened to be the city planner. And I got to say, hey, I'd love to see more, wild, every time I'm out, I think, wouldn't it be great if it, like Johnny Appleseed, there were plants growing all over the place. You could just grow, walk by and grab an orange or grab a berry. I'm like, and he's like, I feel the same way. And we had this great discussion where all of a sudden people will say, oh, just because you're wishing, it's fantastical thinking. But somehow in my very wishing, I ended up sitting next to somebody that makes those decisions, agreed with me, and was like, it's so great to hear this from somebody randomly. So things do happen. They start to move with, I think God behind it actually toward better things, when we're united working toward, like you said, and that's the way to go. And we both worked for an outlet that a lot of people, accuse of being fearful. And so I think I want to segue over to this because we're going to end here in a minute. I know you don't have a lot of time. And so many people wanted to know about your experience, why you left Alex Jones. And I'll say up front, we both have non-disclosures going into this. So that said, and also we're talking about high frequencies, what would you like to add or answer to the people that would like to know why you left?
Well, it's such a secretive operation, so I know why a lot of people want to know, hey, what's it like to work there? Because it's the only media outlet I know that nobody knows where it's located. They know the city, but it's, they don't know where it's located. So it's a very secretive operation, so I could see why people are intrigued. What's he like, so on and so forth. But I'll just say this. First off, before my experience, I was a fan. Today I am not of him and the operation. And I can assure you I didn't make that transition over something catty. Also, there's a lot of, I'd like to shed some more light on it, but I can't do that because, as you stated, Alex's company, which is called, ironically, it's like the height of hypocrisy, it's called Free Speech Systems LLC. That's what it's called. I've got the documents.
I got my check.
Yeah. Requires that we sign airtight lifetime non-disclosure agreements. So that's why I can't elaborate. And anyone who even considers saying anything less than flattering about him publicly, let's just say they're sternly reminded that might not be in their best interest. So that's why I can't say much. But I will say this. I feel obligated to say this much. I think that's wrong because if your persona is, oh, I love freedom, I just love, whistleblowers and media whistleblowers and Ben Swan, Amber Lyons, both of whom are wonderful journalists. Tell us about the culture at other media outlets. Unveil the curtain. We need to hold other people accountable. If that's your persona, and then on the side you're doing that, I think that's wrong. And for those people that say, well, you're allowed to have non-disclosure agreements, other businesses do them, or other businesses have that. Well, the CEOs of those businesses are constantly hyperventilating about how much they love freedom. And their agreements are modest. They're not airtight. So, there you go. And yes, other media outlets do allow past reporters to speak a little bit, as long as they don't get out of control. Soledad O'Brien has said some things about her experience at CNN. Matt Lauer talks a little bit about his spats with Katie Couric. So, that's just my take on it. I think that's not good to legally muzzle people if, in fact, you're going to push a persona that's I'm all about freedom. And there's a guy who I actually spoke to on the phone. He's a really nice guy. His name is Jack Blood. And he used to be a former fill-in anchor, I think, for Alex. And he posted online his take on what his experience was like. And I've posted that on my YouTube page for those who want to see. By me posting it, that doesn't mean I'm officially endorsing what he's saying. I can't do that for obvious reasons.
Now I'm really intrigued. Okay.
I can't do that for obvious reasons. But I'll just say, as you listen to it, trust your intuition. And I want to end with this because I think it's important. When he was in a good mood, Alex, he was a very funny guy. He'd actually have you rolling around in stitches.
He was always really nice to me. So, I don't have anything bad to say about personally how he treated me. I thought he was very generous and kind to me, and so I wasn't there as long as you. I didn't, see everything. So
I do want to say that there's actually occasionally he'll get a bum rap for being a racist, or he wasn't that. I mean,
I didn't see that either.
Yeah, I don't have too many flattering things to say about him, but that's
he seemed to really care. When I was there, he really did seem to truly care, and maybe too much. Maybe that's why some of the, we all have flaws, but.
Right. And let me end with this. For those people, because obviously you want to stay high frequency.
Trying.
Right. Well, I have to end with a cautionary note because I know how things work out of that outlet there. I have no intentions about talking about this again or uploading another video that talks about this. I felt obligated to say what I said. I don't encourage other people from that operation to be emboldened by what I just did and talk themselves as well about this. But I felt obligated to say what I did. However, I have to end with this cautionary note. If I get one menacing phone call from the freedom lover, or other people get a menacing phone call saying, take this video down or else, I will be forced, I do not want to, but I'll be forced to take off the gloves. And I've offered the public a G-rated version. I've got a PG-13 version. And I can assure you it's not catty stuff. So I don't even want to go there. It's over. I've said what I've said. I felt obligated to say what I've said. But if I'm forced, I will be forced to take off the gloves, and I don't want to do that. Now, let me end with a happy note. A lot of people are, stay high frequency, stay high frequency. Well, we do, but it's like if you're on an airplane, let's just say hypothetically, and I'm not talking about anybody specifically. But if you're on an airplane and someone keeps on hitting the alarm button, ding a 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 ding, and you're saying, hey, that person's very annoying. Can he stop? Ding a ding a ding a ding a, letting the public know about that is not being low frequency. It's just saying there's an individual who keeps on hitting ding a ding a ding a ding a ding. You know what I mean? So this is not being low frequency. You just have to kind of.
The truth isn't low frequency. It's just hanging there and once you identify that it's like, then you went on for 10 minutes talking about, and then he rang the dinger and the dinger and the dinger, then you're on the same vibration as the ringer of the dinger. You know what I mean? If you want to go there, you become equally as annoying. So,
yeah, and actually,
I don't know where we're going with this, though.
No, actually, if you've seen my YouTube things, and I talk about liberty victories, and like we were just talking about, you got to stay positive. So that's what we're about. But if you occasionally, it doesn't, if there's a fire.
Everything out there is not perfect and wonderful and flowers, and you have to stay informed. Absolutely, it's important to stay informed, and then just try not, get too. Drudge into, the darkness as much as possible. I think that's what we're trying to say,
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Hey, Dave Ortiz, awesome talking with you. Thanks for letting everybody know what you're doing now, and I will leave your YouTube channel below. And thanks a lot for, doing an interview with me. People were really excited about it, and I'm sure they're happy to hear what you have to say.
Thanks, Linda, and thank you for what you're doing. I just love the vibe. I watch your YouTube channel also. It's really great.
Thanks, Dave. That's really nice. All right, have a wonderful night.
Okay, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.